Oh, I remember doing these in the X3. It sucked. Do I have to take out the whole intercooler, fans, and everything again? What's up, everybody? We are back in the shop and we are working on the Maverick R. We are doing Glamis prep. If you saw in the last couple of videos, I had some issues. I was out in the desert, kind of doing a pre-run thing, found some things that was wrong. And one of the things that I promised you on the previous video was we need to do a spark plug change on this thing. Is it a chore? Well, it is, but it's not as bad as the X3. The X3 sucked. You had to take off the intercooler, the fans, all that kind of stuff. Everything from the top you had to take out from the X3 to get to the spark plugs. This one is a little easier. And let me show you what I'm talking about.
This here's your spark plug.
Before we get into the install, I do want to show you that the spark plugs for the Maverick R are physically, dimensionally, whatnot, the same as the X3, but it is a different part number. What makes it different? I don't know. Probably the heat range, something to do with that. The platinum tip, whatever. But you can, in a pinch, use X3 spark plugs in the Maverick R. In fact, that's what I had to do, and that's what's in the car right now, and it's seemingly running fine, but they're not the right plugs, so we're going to do it right. Okay, so the motor is set in the same spot as the X3, but now the motor is in line with the car instead of transverse like the X3. So how are we going to get in there? Well, it's tight in there.
Tight.
It's tight, especially from this side. I mean, it looks like you can reach everything. Remember those coil packs? They're long. I don't know if they would clear the fans and whatnot. Foreshadowing, they will. I'll show you that. But getting in there can be kind of rough. If you have eyeballs on any of your fingertips, that'll make it a lot easier. Let's look at the other side. Okay, coming in from the driver's side, it is more open in here, but it is a farther reach. But I mean, you can see it is more open. You don't have to like scrape your arms against so much stuff like the intake and all the plumbing around the intake and wires and whatnot. But you know what? I've got an even better way. So a while back, I made a video of this handy device that Evo has, and I think maybe one or two other people make it too. You can even home make one, but the Evo one's nice. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This engine cover right here. This is going to be the lifesaver for getting to the spark plugs. With this off, it opens everything up. But let me show you one other thing I like about this engine cover right here. Notice that there's no fasteners exposed right here. You don't see anything. Because the fasteners are coming in on the sides. They're just push pins. So the push pins on the side right here, there's two on this side, there's three on the other side, but you don't see them from the front. Makes it real nice, and they're not hard to get to. I just get a little pry tool, pull them out, and the cover comes off. So I'm going to pop that cover off, and I'm going to show you how much exposure it gives you to the top of the motor. It's going to make the job a ton easier. So these are the push pins that hold the cover in. You've seen those all over the car. This is my favorite tool. There is a link below if you want to get one off Amazon. They're only a couple bucks. But man, it's so handy. Let's get that cover off. Easy peasy now. Look at that. Look at all that room. Get some light. Look at that.
Would you look at that?
Easy exposure to everything. There's the plugs, there's the coil packs. Let's get to showing you what tools I'm going to use to change these plugs. First, let's talk about gapping these plugs.
Gap.
When you buy plugs, they tell you they're pre-gapped. But if you're running the tune, you need to change your gap. Even if you're not running a tune, you need to double check what the gap is. They could have got changed and banged around in shipping and whatnot. So make sure you have a feeler gauge. And I got my handy dandy feeler gauge here. And what I do is I'm gapping mine to 18 thousandths. I have a flex fuel tune in my car. That's the recommended gap from Evo. I've used that gap, if not smaller, my X3 before when I was running just pure E85 with the flex fuel. 18 thousandths recommended. Why do I have two out here? I have 18, I have a 20. The reason why I do that is when you're checking the gap on these, you want it to have a drag in there. When you get in there, a little bit of drag. And then I go up a couple sizes, and the way I know the gap's not too big is it won't fit. So the 20 thousandths won't fit in there. 18 thousandths does. So I just check it with the 20 thousandths. It's just trying to double checks that I'm at the right gap. Something you might keep in mind. You can go to 19 thousandths if you want, but if the 20 thousandths doesn't fit, the 18 thousandths does, then I'm probably pretty dang close. What I use the gap with? Well, you can bang it on the ground or whatever, but I use this little tool right here. It's so handy. You just dial this in and you can crank it down till you get the right gap. The electrode or the ground loop will spring back a little bit, so sometimes you gotta go in and then come back out, but makes it real easy. If you go too far, just take some needle nose, pry that back out again, and work your way back down again. And I've already got my anti-seize on here. So let's get to the installation tools. All right, so these are the tools I'm using.
Get the tools. What tools?
Okay, so obviously you gotta have a ratchet. And with my ratchet, I like this little thumb turn thing. I've always got it on there. It makes it real easy, so you can just reach and do things by hand without having to take the socket completely off and whatnot. So I got that. That comes into play when we do the install. For your coil packs, they're held on with a Torx or a T30 Torx, so I have a socket for that. For the spark plugs, they are 14 millimeter. It's not 5/8, it's not 13/16, it's a 14 millimeter, and make sure you're using a spark plug socket. It's got little tings in there to hold the spark plug, so when you pull it out of the head, it pulls the spark plug with it. And then I'm using a couple different extensions here. I'm using a short extension, and then I'm using an extra short. And then that's in combination with this little thumb trim. That's going to make more sense when you see me pulling them out. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, sorry about that wire, is I'm going to take these wires, excuse me, off the coil packs.
Where are the spark plug wires?
You can take all three of them off. They're wired in such a way you're not going to get them mixed up. It's a little tricky because you're doing it kind of backwards, but you got to push down on this little tab and then pop this off. Make sure you get this pushed down before you try prying this off, or else you break the tab. And I'm just doing kind of a combination of pushing down on this, using my fingers, prying it out like this. I can't do the camera in this same time, but when we come back, you'll see I have all three of these off. Okay, I got all three connectors off, and what I ended up doing is just using two hands. One hand trying to squeeze while the other hand was trying to push this off. It's not super fun, but it's not that hard. Next thing I do is I use just my ratchet and my T30 socket, and I'm just going to loosen all three of these. And after they're loose, I'm going to take this off the socket and unscrew them and get them out. One thing to note is when you put these back in, do not torque them tight. You will strip the threads and ruin your valve cover. So don't do that. Just take them out, and after I crack these all loose, I'm just going to take them out, and then we'll be pulling the coil packs. All right, let's pull the coil packs. I got all the three bolts out. Just kind of wiggle it, get it up. This first one obviously is going to be the easiest. Look, it's only that long. It's not that bad.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
Next one, pull it out. This one's a little bit tougher. You just got to kind of dodge it around the fans a little bit, but you get it out. Make sure these stay behind the little rubber grommets. Now the back one.
In the back?
The back one is a little bit more. Get it going. And once it's out, you do have to dive the top up in between the fans and the little support brackets, and then give it just a little bit more flex on that boot, and you can get it out. Look, not bad. All right, here's where we're using the various different socket and extension setups. So I got my spark plug socket, short extension, and my thumb turn. If you don't have a thumb turn, you can use your super short extension here. So in the front one here, this will fall in, no problem. Get it settled all the way down, spark plug. That's all the way down. You can see I got enough bite there and get my ratchet on. On the middle one, it's a little tight. I don't want to force it. So what I do, I take the shorter, the socket and the short extension. Now it will go in there because it's hitting up here. And it'll go on. And look, it's down below. That's hard to get a socket on. So use either your short extension or your thumb turn. And now I can get that on there and pull it out. To get it all the way out, oh look, I lost my socket. So make sure you don't do that. You gotta go back on there, get it on there, and get it out. On the next one, there we go. Again, you gotta pull this off, the thumb turn off or your super short extension off in order to get this out because it's in the top. So I started with the middle here and I got it unscrewed. Now those spark plugs have long threads, so they're really long-winded.
How do you know how long it was?
So it takes a long time to get it out. And you see this starting, it's already growing out of the valve cover. Remember how this was down below? So this is coming out. And now that I can feel that the spark plug's loose, I gotta take this thumb turn off to have clearance to get it out. Might even have to take the extension off, but it looks like it's going. There we go. There's the spark plug.
Holy spark plugs!
There it is. Okay, we're going to do the rear one. The rear one is tricky. We're going to go in with spark plug socket, short extension, but we have to go in phases. So we're going to drop the socket in first. Now I can put the short extension in there. Now we're see, click, we're all the way down. Now I put my little thumb turn or your super short extension. That's on there. Now I can get my ratchet in there and break it loose. Once it's broken loose, I take off the ratchet. I unscrew this. Remember, the spark plug has a lot of threads. So as I unscrew this, it's going to expose that short extension more. Once that short extension is exposed a lot, I will take off my thumb turn or my super short extension, depending on what you're using. Okay, so I got enough I can grab that. Okay, yeah, back to just the short extension. Unscrewing it. It's long-winded. There we go. I feel it loose now. Now I'm going to come out. There's my socket. I'm hitting the top, so I got to take the extension off. And with the extension off, there's my plug. Easy peasy. All right, so that's how you take the spark plugs out. Putting them in, Same thing. A couple of caveats you want to watch out for. Don't get them too tight. Make sure you use anti-seize, all that kind of stuff. The lifesaver of the day.
You are a lifesaver.
Is the Evo cover. The Evo cover gives you full access to this right here. It's awesome. You guys can make your own. I've seen one made out of mud flap before or whatever, but you know, it's not quite as neat, but it's a lot cheaper. But if you just want to be one and done, do the Evo cover. There's a link below to the installation of that cover that I did, I don't know, a long time ago. Let's look at the tools again. Here's my 3 plugs. Remember, these are X3 used plugs when I put them in. But the key thing is the front plug. You can pretty much take it all out in pieces like this and just use that and pull it out. The middle plug, you can do it in this combination, going in and coming out. The rear plug, you're going to have to drop the socket in, and drop the extension in, and then put your super short extension or your thumb turn on there, crack it loose with the ratchet, take it out, and as you're unscrewing it and coming out, you have to pull this off, unscrew it, get out some more, pull it out of the hole where you can grab onto the socket, pull this out, and then you got room to pull it out. Because it's pretty tight in there with the intercooler being right above it. And like I say, properly gap your plugs for your application, your tune and whatnot. Not those, these. Don't forget your anti-seize on the threads. When you screw them in, follow the manufacturer's recommended torque specs or a half a ugga dugga. Remember, everything in there is aluminum. Don't over tighten. Guys, I hope this helped you out. I've been dreading this job for a while. I only did it. I was long overdue for it. I should have regapped my plugs and changed them a long time ago. I got like 2,800 miles on this car. But again, with that breakdown in the desert that I told you guys about earlier, I was kind of forced to change the plugs. I'm glad I did it, and I saw that it's not that big of a job. It's a way easier job than the X3. I wish I would have found a video on this sooner. Hopefully this helps you guys out. The key things, that cover. Get that cover from Evo, man. That'll help you out. Makes that fully exposed in there. Stay on top of your maintenance. Change your oil, change your plugs, all that good stuff. Please like, comment, subscribe, share it to friends. And man, I appreciate you guys. The support that I get, the private messages, the comments on the videos, it's huge. It keeps me going. I got more how-to videos coming. I am about 4 or 5 days away from leaving for Glamis, and so we'll have some footage from that. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next video.